first prison built in Nigeria was built in 1862. That was Badagry. Though there is a misconception of records, some people take it for Broad Street prison that was built in 1874. Which my studies of the prison service generally in Nigeria gave me a fact that it was established in 1860. The first prison was built in 1860 around Lekki Badagry area, and there is concrete record to really confirm that. I have documented that and passed it to the service before I retired. Well, it's left to the service to look into it and establish the truth about it. And of course, as far as I'm concerned, I believe the first prison in Nigeria was built in 1862 in Badagry. And since then, of course, when you talk about Badagry, it's a reminder of slavery of those colonial days, because that is the route with which Nigerians were taken as slaves to Britain, and which is the thing I always never like to recover. History is always there, and when you want to discuss it, you have to say what it's all about. You have to say the truth. So that's Badagry prison. I believe it was a slave camp. It was used as a slave camp en route to Britain for slavery activities of Nigerians that were taken there. So the structural arrangement of the place cannot actually align with what is expected of a modern prison system. So that is it. In 2005, that the government of this country established a what they call National Political Reform Commission. The commission was meeting at the international conference. In my own wisdom, I wrote I sent a memo to that commission calling for a change of name of the prisons to correctional service, which is now what is the new name of the service. When I heard that the prison service is now to be called Nigerian Correctional Service, I was greatly excited. In fact, I couldn't even hide it. Good enough, like you are discussing with me now, in Ibadan, which is my base. In fact, many radio stations, not less than 5 radio stations and 1 television station, invited me for discussion on the new act. In fact, I was very excited. But my excitement is that the name eventually come to be in my lifetime too. But I'm worried. Will the change of name bring positive development to the institution? Will it bring it to the service?
Nigerian prisons are seen as one of the worst correctional centers in the world. Recently, it was just changed from prison service to National Correctional Service. But it's still, despite the change of name, nothing has really changed in the way things are done. From the prison service to the correctional service, nothing has changed. You still go to those prisons, you see high level congestion of inmates. Prisons, correctional centers where you are supposed to have 1,000 inmates, you have about 3,000 to 4,000 inmates.
one of the journalists asked a direct question. Are you going to sue the government? So we saw in the news that there was an electrocution in Ikoyi prison, and there were different opinions on how many people died, but at least there was an agreement that at least 5 people died. You know, in some newspapers there was a report that about 10 people died, in some others 7. At least we know that from what government figures, it was 5. Whereas about more than 10 were injured. You know, also that was also agreed by government. So they died due to an electrocution. And we also got reports from the Controller General of Prisons, from some of the reports in the newspapers, that what aggravated that situation was because of overcrowding within the cells. So there was an overcrowding in the cells. A cell more for 30 persons was holding 140 persons. So we felt, and that was what actually pricked me. The electrocution incident was there, it could happen, but what actually pricked me was the fact that a cell holding 30 persons could hold 140. So if there's an emergency, there's going to be more death than should have happened. And that was what happened in this case. And that is why we're in court, actually. And based on, you know, other people encouraging us to not just sit and lie down. And because we know not very many people are going to take up this case. You understand? Because nobody gets concerned about what happens. Even what happens to us on a daily life, people don't care. It's as if we are used to suffering. You know, talk less of people who can't even have a voice, who don't even have a voice, who nobody cares about. Probably people feel they have committed crimes. But the funny thing about the Ikoyi incident is that the cell where people died was holding awaiting trial persons. So it could be anybody. So you could not, somebody got you to court, maybe through, through the right way or the wrong way, whether you have committed an offense or you have not committed an offense. But you know, this process is that when you get to court, you'll be granted bail. You are meant to meet your bail condition. If you can't meet up the bail condition, you'll be remanded in prison. So anybody can be in that condition. You have not been found guilty. So everybody in that cell were awaiting trial persons. So I believe that it's possible that some of them got to prison that same day. It's possible they got to prison a day before. It's possible, so it could be anybody. They were not even convicts. If they were convicts, they are not on death row. You understand? If they're on death row, the law does not allow electrocution in Nigeria. There's another mode. So there was no justification for putting people there and letting them die in that way.
The correctional service and the police of that one.
Who is representing the police is the CP legal.
Okay.
And the correctional service is the controller. It used to be legal, but they've turned it to operations now.
Okay.
Yes.
Please, can you shed more light on the correctional information? Was it the one that 2.5 billion was allotted for the other time?
No,
you're saying you interact with the correctional information management. So is it software? How does it work?
PIMS is, it used to be PIMS, that's the Prison Information Management System.
Yes.
Now it's Correctional Information Management System. It basically reports the issue of, it was basically a station, it captures Kuje prison initially because it was supported by INL, this US, it's supported, it's not any 2.5 billion. I'm not aware, I think it's recent that they've allocated to expand it beyond Kuje to reach other states, which is also happening. About 18 states now are being covered.
Lagos?
Lagos, I think, yes, it's being covered, but not all of them. I think they've covered Kirikiri or somewhere like that. But you know, Mr. Felix Agada, he works with his phone, and you can tell you exactly today how many people have been detained over 180 days.
Okay.
So that's what SIM captures. They are now expanding the various components to include management, to include other areas apart from just pre-trial detention. When it started off with pre-trial detention,
who can access it?
of course, it's only NCS, but they can tell you if you ask, especially if you create rapport or you come to the MCGMC, it can always introduce you to the man in charge. But it gives you accurate figures of how many people are in custody and how many have been detained beyond the 180 days prescribed days, so that they start looking and taking, which is partly what the ACJ requires of us to be monitoring.
Okay, so
that
did
has
they give this report?
facilitated that.
Did they give the, because there's a matter in court now. My organization actually sued the correctional services of federal government on the issue of overcrowding in Ikoyi prison. You know, there was an electrocution incident which was linked also to overcrowding in terms of the casualty. That could have been lesser if not because of the incident of overcrowding. So the court was asking a lot of questions from the council representing the prison. That's why I'm surprised that these things even exist.
Okay.
So he was asking that, do you have records? He cannot even, no answer. What are you doing? Since they passed AGJA, because we are also asking the court to interpret section 111, this issue of reporting. There was no, he could not say anything. Since they passed the NSE, what have you done? There was no response. That's why I'm curious about issues like this, and they are not proper records. And what are they doing with the records? Because if you have records, if you have information, how are you pushing it out to other stakeholders? For instance, the General of Lagos State says they have not received any reports from the correctional services, which they are also meant to receive, and that was before the court. So the matter has been adjourned for judgment now. So I'm just hoping that. So what's if they have all these and even their counsel do not know?
I don't know. I'm not sure how they just do that. And they have done a lot. I must say, and resources have been deployed to that, both by the development partners and now the federal government are putting a lot of funds to ensure that it's cut across the states in the country. And I'm aware that as at last November when we met and had meetings, it was about 18 states. But not all the prisons are covered as yet in those 18 states, but the major, I think the maximum and the are covered. The major prisons are covered across those 18 states. So I'll be surprised that even the PRO in Lagos is aware of that. The big man. But then they are not aware of the case going on.
Unfortunately, even if all these things exist, it's not impacting on the issue of overcrowding and other issues affecting the prisons.
No, it would not, because what it would not straight away. At least its starting point is that you have a record. It's not up to them, and that's to the beauty of the new NCA, saying that this rejection, that if you get to the point you have the NCS as the mandate to be rejecting inmates, and so we're yet to see how they're going to be implemented. They can reject at the moment. And that's been an issue in terms of what do we do if you raise it to the AGF and all that they have been said.
So the court is battling with that now because it's part of the leaves. They're asking the court to leave. So 3rd of April, we'll see how the court deals with it.
Yeah, but why are you doing court when we are supposed to be putting hands together? I don't know how I can't fault you, but I thought we should be more deploying effort together to support and reform the criminal justice in a way that is not blame game. Do you understand? I think that's what I would be asking.
It's not actually blame game.
Because the NCS, they don't have the capacity. That is the truth. It's the same way you'll be blaming police. If resources are not well deployed, if the DPO is using his own money to be feeding inmates, then there's going to have
the beauty of the action is that the federal government was sued. Which provide funding. The Ministry of Interior was sued. It's just for every actors to do what they are meant to do.
Yeah.
It's not as if we are putting a blame on
the NCS.
But what the action has just shown us is that probably everybody is not playing this part. At least from the material before the court. That's why I'm surprised that all this are happening and even those who should speak for them are not even putting anything forward. You understand?
Yeah, well, there's several ways to skin a cat, isn't it? So perhaps that will work. I think working together, as I said, one of the things that I also said there is, I think there should be larger cooperation between the CSOs, and I'm happy that we have this working group, or what is it? Is it
Observation.
Yeah, but it should be more than observation. I think we need to be hands-on, working together to knock it together, not just observe, and then you be blaming and claiming and writing. Let's deploy resources and let's be tackling in a way that we are more.
Sir,
But
just to put perspective to this.
Yes.
In December, about at least 6 inmates lost their lives, and more than 20 were injured. In a few days that happened, and up till now, we have not seen any concrete action. So many times we can pontificate. We can keep saying these, but it's just endemic. A prison meant to accommodate 800 is accommodating 3,113. And we have not declared the state of emergency. And people will be doing meeting, will be drinking tea. I don't think that is the only approach that will work.
Yeah.
We can keep talking, while we keep also acting through the laws. And sometimes they'll be forced to act or act faster when there's something pushing them.
Yeah.
ABJA is in its 5th year. What are the gains? As in, when you talk of natural, what are the gains?
Yeah.
What are the delivered? Let's talk from the prison aspect. What have they delivered? When they give this report, some people are meant to act on it. Are they acting?
Yeah.
So should we just keep saying, I don't believe in theorizing?
Yeah.
So we can attack it from different angles, and when the result is out, hopefully they'll be forced to act. Because the judge asked the same question. Why not advocate? And I also put forth to him some of these reasons. That we advocate if I have done like 10 interviews, you understand, even on this.
Generally, prisons, as they were built then, because the time they were built, the focus of imprisonment was punishment. And of course, you want to punish somebody, you send him out to a place where he will not be comfortable. So that orientation led to the kind of structures that were built then.
Thank God they have changed the name from prison to the Nigerian Correctional Service. What is the intention behind this change of the name? For me, I feel because they know that people in the correctional facility are not just there for the sake of punishment. They are there to be rehabilitated and become better persons. But most of the times when you get to that place, they don't do anything, they don't have any structure, nothing, no rehabilitation, you just see them moving around. And then, yes, an idle mind is the devil's workshop. By the time they sit down doing nothing, they have opportunity to also plan better offenses with their colleagues over there in prison. So for me, I think we should work on our rehabilitation programs in the Nigerian correctional facilities.
I think about correctional service. I dream of it. And I always love to talk about it. Even when I was in the service. Particularly because I was employed as a social worker. And of course, the primary duty is to give assistance, to bring relief to the pains of imprisonment of the inmates. So anything I observe as not bringing comfort, a minimum comfort to the inmates, I feel concerned about it. One British prison commissioner that came to Nigeria during the colonial days, Sir Alexander Patterson. One of the remarks he made when he came to Nigeria was that prisons, to live up to its responsibility, it must see that a person that goes into the prison come out not as depraved as he went in. Because if he comes out more depraved than he went in, it means the service has not rendered anything. It becomes a waste of government revenue, a waste of resources on that person. You need to even imagine, and even as I know particularly, the enormous resources that go into feeding prison inmates. Even though the feeding is still not adequate by my own assessment and by any right-thinking person's assessment. Average inmates are fed. Average inmate is fed on 450 naira per day. Let's quantify it. 450 naira per inmate for 30 days will give us 13,500 naira for 1 month, let's take 30 days for 1 month, 13,500 naira. For 1 year, that would be going to about 235,000 naira to feed one prison inmate. 135,000 naira to feed one in 1 year. Several billions of naira will go into feeding them alone, not other services provided for them. And if such people come out of the prisons more depraved than they went in, it amounts to a complete waste of resources, which is rather unfortunate.
The issue is not about us building more prisons. The issue is not about us having more inmates in prison. The issue is about us having an effective legal system that is being implemented in such a way that people that are supposed to be convicted for social service, people that have been supposed to be convicted for community service, don't end up in prisons, and government has to spend so much money to maintain them, to serve prison terms. So it's not about having so much prison, it's about effectively implementing what the AJA says.
Well, okay, we're not asking that the federal government should prioritize building prisons, but I think the aim actually is to ensure that the criminal justice process works in such a way that there's on the output side there's reform, on the input side is a deterrent. So if the criminal justice system works to deter certain people who would ordinarily have been incentivized to commit crime, and then more importantly, those who go through the system, when they come out, the idea is that they should come out as reformed citizens who can be integrated easily back into society. That way we ensure that in and out the system will work and the society is much safer for development.